Now, see, I wouldn't be a physical media channel if I didn't do a bunch of comparisons. I hate this. I love this. I don't like feeding negativity, but I like constructive criticism. So I wanted to take a look at my biggest thing that I've always argued: slipcovers versus steelbooks, and why one of them kind of sucks and the other one's kind of great. The answer is it's actually both of them. They have their ups and downs, so I'm going to do some comparisons. What's the good types of slipcovers? What's the bad kind of slipcovers? What's the good type of steelbooks? What's the bad kind? I'm not going to dive into absolute premium steelbooks like the ones that come with a slipcover and a booklet and a bunch of art cards or a poster or whatever, whether that be something like Manta Lab or even the Arrow video releases. I'm not going to jump into that. I want to kind of go into just standard stuff. But I have two limited editions I will look at. One that's absolutely priceless to me, and in terms of a steelbook, and one that's an umbrella release. But I do also want to note here that being an Australian person, we don't get that many slipcovers. It's never a really big thing. When we do, I guess it's just never been an important thing to our physical media collections, at least not to mine. I know it's a very big thing in America. I think the understanding there that I have is that American cases are slimmer, usually cheaper in design. Slipcovers are designed to protect the media a bit better, but also add to artwork. So in terms of the theory base, what do I like in terms of slipcovers and steelbooks? The main quality of the two of them is, of course, artwork. It's always going to be artwork. That's the quality that everyone loves. There's also the extra perks. Does a slipcover come with embossing or debossing? Does it come with like glow-in-the-dark features or whatever? Is the artwork different to the artwork provided inside? Does the inside have reversible art? You know, how many layers is this gonna go in? Because honestly, sometimes that can be really fun. When it comes to steelbooks, it's kind of the same thing. Is it matte finish, so completely flat, usually no embossing or debossing, which is my personal favorite because I usually like to actually pick up and touch the steelbook. And usually it does help design-wise, look-wise, gloss-wise, if it does have gloss and shine and shimmer and embossing and debossing. So I've got a variety to choose from. We'll dive into the slipcovers first because that's the one that I find to be the most controversial in terms of my opinion, because most of my opinion is that I don't care for them. But I've actually kind of grown to like them a bit more over the past couple of weeks that I've thought about it. I had a podcast recently where I discussed them and I realized I actually kind of like them, but only if they're a certain feature. So there are pros and cons. Let's dive into them. The immediate con I want to go into is something as simple as Avatar. Big labeled release being Disney, and it already comes with stuff that I hate. Firstly, the fact that it does actually emphasize the 4K digital Blu-ray bonus, whatever the crap on the top. I'm not fond of that, but I do like the design. Why the line doesn't go all the way across, if you can see there, is kind of stupid. Anyway, there's no embossing, it's completely flat, and the classification sticker being the big M isn't a sticker. I can't take it off. That's the one perk I'll give to someone like Imprint as a brand. They will shrink wrap it and have the M or PG or MA rated sticker as a sticker. So then you can take off the shrink wrap and it's gone, which is great. But this isn't. This is a bad example of a slipcover release. Sure, it still has the decent details on the back, but even the, symbol just says A in this style of design, which can be very annoying for me, who has the second one as well, where the A for the second one is actually a bit lower. I have a reel on that. It's a short. I forget that Instagram and YouTube and TikTok are all different. My hugest criticism is the fact that the artwork on the inside, it's identical. This is like the main issue with Australian releases in particular, even though this is basically the US release as well. There's no difference in the artwork. It still says Ultimate Collector's Edition. That's its own lie, basically. But that's the lowest of the low. When you come with a slipcover, and to be fair, a lot of basic slipcovers, even in the US, are just that. And that's just stuff I don't like. It doesn't hurt to have it. I can understand the joy of having a slipcover. Look at all it's aligned with cardboard sleeves. It's nice. I understand that. American cases are really, really cheap, and really thin, they're really flimsy. I mean, half the time you open one up and it has a big recycle sign on the inside, so it's like emphasizing, just dispose of this, it's basically worthless. I want to say American in particular because both the UK and Australia have thicker cases. Even the few times I have gotten thinner cases in Australia or from the UK, they have been stronger cases anyway, like perfectly square kind of deal, so it's just a weird thing, but I just want to put that out there. That's my dislike of slipcovers, when they're exactly the same artwork. I know that's a lot of them, but yeah, it's not fun. But to contrast that, you have a different Australian release in this case. This is Umbrella's Beyond Genres for the Love Witch. This is already a stylized design they have for every single one of their Beyond Genres releases. They all come with a sleeve. It's got the title of the Beyond Genres. This is volume 20. Get the movie. It also tells you what it also features, filmed by whom, and of course the cast. The spine is pretty basic, same image from there, which is nice. I like that. The title is just the same style of letters. It's the same style of letters throughout each release. They're all going to be like, what is it? It's not a Ryle. I don't know what the hell the font is. But it's obviously different to that, which is fine. It catches your eye better, I think. The thing is, as well as this having images on the back and emphasizing region coding and barcode and all what's on the 2 discs and all that stuff, which is a good selection. I like the formatting and stuff like that. The contrast is that an Umbrella release for their Beyond Genres has reversible artwork on the inside, but it's a different kind of reversible artwork. That's basically the main poster that you got on the front, but as an actual poster. On the other side of it, because the spine is identical to the sleeve, you have a different poster. This is actually for the other film, Viva, because there's Viva and the Love Witch. And on the inside, in this case, it actually comes with reversible, full body artwork. Sometimes they will do reversible, but mostly for the Beyond Genres, it's an image from one of the films. In this case, you get 2 different films, 2 different discs, inside artwork. I like that. That's like the thing with a brand like Umbrella, is they will utilize all of their art. The sleeve itself is thin, but it's protective, and it just looks nice. The black really works. It's like a matte finish. It's just a nice touch, you know? I like that about it. It's my favorite style of slipcovers, even though this is slightly different to, well, my favorite style would be more of the style that, again, emphasizes different styles of artwork. So let's dive into more versions of that. Another Australian brand, Imprint, does a completely different style. It's glossy. Their original, 4 releases were matte finishes, which I have for 2 of them, I believe, including War of the Worlds. But this is the Catman of Paris, issue number 219, so it still has the name and its characterization on the spine. Imprint emphasizing the brand and date, as well as which number it is, because these ones are numbered releases. It also is a slide-out release from the side, where the Love Witch and Avatar are termed as O-card. This is more termed as a slipcover than a sleeve. I think there is a difference, a slipcover and a sleeve. I don't know. There's strange terminologies, but I'm okay with saying that the Love Witch and Avatar are O-cards because that's what they basically are. There's J-card, O-card, and whatever the crap this is. The hole into the next dimension. I don't know. Either way, different artwork on the inside. Still a very basic case, and if you were to get the standard release, you'd get the artwork that is, this is an Imprint's principle at least. The artwork that's on this would be on the standard release of this, when this becomes non-limited edition anymore. So, but that's nice, you know, it still emphasizes the details of the film, just with different artwork, and usually a different quote as well. Terror strikes 9 times, claws of death slashing a weird tattoo of horror on unsuspecting victims. It's nice. I like that. And again, you open it up, and again, reversible artwork, but in this case it's landscape artwork, and the disc art matches the sleeve. I like that. It's nice. It's one of the quirks and benefits of Imprint, with the artwork being alternative. I like that about it. My second last example of a sleeve I really like. I wanted to show my Texas Chainsaw Umbrella release, but this one actually comes with a J-card. This is The Tunnel, a film I'm yet to actually watch. I'm not huge on the fact that it does come with a J-card, but all the details are on the J-card, including the fact that it's limited to 800 units. And all the regular stuff that you'd expect from a J card, which makes it very keepable. I can keep it as limited edition, that kind of jazz. In this case, these are the limited edition releases for... Actually, this is the limited edition release I want to talk about. I know I said that there was only one, but technically Imprint's a limited edition. Nevertheless, much like this, Repo Man, stuff like that, where you'll have artwork that's different on both sides. In fact, it's very dark artwork on, you can tell. So yeah, it's obviously a person screaming, but even on the back, it's just a person, so it's better on that. That light actually worked really well. It's a nice O card. And then you get different artwork on the inside. I feel like if they did a standard release, they wouldn't be showing it with this artwork. I've seen the Repo Man standard edition artwork, and it just is kind of bland. But I liked the new artwork that they put onto their O card. This does have reversible artwork on the inside. This is the other alternative example, which is why I wanted to show it, because the alternative artwork is actually the same artwork, I believe. Oh, okay. So it's the artwork that you see on the back of the O card with the woman standing there. So that's nice. Even the disc art is the same as the front of the O card. You get all the details on the inside there, which you don't get otherwise. This is actually the artwork that it came with naturally. This artwork here I reversed myself because I liked it as a different contrast, you know, as well as the fact that I have a J card, so if I want to read the details about the film in terms of runtime, special features and whatnot, it's all on the J card. But they still at least allow you to, if you don't want to keep the J card, the details are still on the inside of the case. So it's a nice set. It's a nice little bundle. My last slipcover variant I want to show is a US release, because this is actually one of the few US releases I like. I don't think... I do technically have another... Hold on. Okay, so this would be what I would consider to be a bad slipcover release. This is what I could consider to be a good slipcover release. The main reason that this, being Crimes of the Future, neon branded and everything, you know, little hole for your barcode, which is such a weird thing that they do in the US. Like, obviously they don't want to have the barcode on the sleeve, because in case, I don't know, maybe if I think the idea is that usually this would be wrapped in plastic and this isn't. So this has its barcode, whereas this is just kind of like a 3B. You could basically, from my understanding, could go into a store like Best Buy and just take off the sleeve and walk away with it. What are they going to do? Can they arrest you for it? I don't know. It's got no barcode. It's technically not a product. It's an accessory. But that's what it is. It's the exact same artwork. It doesn't do anything. There's no embossing, no debossing. It's just flat, basically worthless cardboard. I know that people do throw out slipcovers like that, but again, there's no reversible artwork. It's very basic in its design. I'm not huge on this. This is my least favorite style of release. It is still nice to have the sleeve. I do want to say that though. It's just one of those things, because these are American cases and they are cheaper and thinner. It's nice to have the sleeve to give it the extra bit of padding. It's slightly hypocritical of me to say that I still like this, but I do still like the practice of it. The Australian releases don't need this. Like, a good story being that I bought the Mummy trilogy on 4K and they came as individual releases, and when I went to pick them up, only the third film had a slipcover, the first and second one didn't. And that annoyed me, because it's like, well, it's part of a set, that's kind of stupid. I went to the shelves, and because I was still browsing, they had the second one there with a sleeve. So I went to the counter and said, hey, can I exchange this? Problem was, in Australia, we actually put barcodes on the slipcovers, which meant that, you know, they scanned it in and it was two different products. It was the same product but slightly different, like a slight letter or number different, because it had a sleeve. So they had to go through this whole entire process just to change it. And that's where, like, the whole pedanticness of getting sleeves is a bit much. However, again, you do contrast to this other American release, like I mentioned, this being Scream Factory, a brand who does this well, even with the hole in it. They have reversible artwork. I like that. They don't always do it, but I do like when you get this. It's just, this is my main thing. I just want reversible art. If you're gonna have a sleeve, emphasize different artwork as well. That's just my only quarrel. That's my only thing, you know. Imprint does it well. Umbrella does it well. Scream Factory does it pretty decently, I like. Other brands, not so much, but it's very much an American thing. I know I keep saying it's an American thing as if it's like a stereotype, like I dislike them, but it's no, that's just how they sell it. It's their market. I've seen a bunch of American YouTubers complain when they get releases in and say, I watched a recent mid-level media one. They had a Blu-ray come in and it didn't come with a sleeve, and they're like, well, this is basically worthless. I know he was joking, but at the same time, it's like, that's how I understand it from an American point of view. It's like, oh, it's worthless. It doesn't come with a sleeve, you know? It's like, it's just a bit of cardboard. But I can understand it, for me, personally, if it's in a set. If it's in a set like the Mummy films were, which I still don't have the first one with a sleeve, that annoys me. Because it's like, you want them to be uniform and aligned. If it's random-ass films, it doesn't matter to me. Unless, of course, the film itself has different artwork underneath. Then it's like, hey, that's cool, it comes with different artwork. Beautiful. That's why I wanted to show off my Texas Chainsaw release, but that's because it was the standard Australian 40th anniversary Blu-ray release with an O-card on top, which was just a riff on a poster from Wake and Fright, or The Outback, I think it's called in the US. So, yeah, but it didn't come with a J-card to limited edition number. It just has a big-ass poster that I got, a Dayball. Really nice poster. Anyway, so as a ranking in terms of my preferences for sleeves, obviously Avatar and Crimes of the Future, they're the ones I don't care for. You know, if the artwork on the inside is the same, I don't like it, but with the exception for the American release for Crimes of the Future is that it's a thin case. Having a slipcover is a nice bonus because it is a very thin case and plastic and cheap. Whereas the Australian Avatar release is plastic, sure, but it's thicker and not cheap, you know? Well, not as cheap, I should say. It won't break if you drop it, probably, but, I mean, I feel like they both will anyway. I don't know. I feel like there's a decency to if you went to snap it in half without the disc in there, one of them would break a hell of a lot easier than the other one. Nevertheless, Crimes of the Future come with a slipcover I like. Avatar, I don't. It's bad use of artwork and stuff like that. At least Crimes of the Future doesn't have labels, but American brands don't do that. They don't have rating stickers on the front. They put it all on the back, which I like. That's like the one huge perk about American brands. They put all their stuff on the back. Emphasize the artwork on the front, and whether it's 4K or collector's edition, the title, all that stuff on the front. I love that. That's good stuff. But then Imprint and Umbrella's releases I also really like. I like how they've got the inside artwork being different. I like how one of them does O-cards and one of them does whatever the hell Imprint is. I don't know what the hell they're called. They're just sleeves of whatever. But C-cards? I don't know. It's the hole's in a different spot. In terms of preferencing, I'd say O-cards would be my preference. Something like what Umbrella do or what Scream Factory has done. Because if, again, you take it out, really easy to slide it out, and the inside has reversible artwork and original artwork, you know, like the same artwork that matches the sleeve, that's nice, which it always comes with naturally. But then if it also comes with, you know, original poster or something else on the inside, that's extra good. Because these are, in the end, all about the artwork. Sure, there's the essence of protecting the disc, having a nice case, making it all look chic. Yeah, cool. But if the artwork is crap, then the artwork is crap, you know? Then we jump into basically the exact same argument with Steelbooks. In this case, I have a selection of matte finish ones, some glossy ones, 1 and 2 with sleeves, which is a weird thing to point out, but I do want to emphasize it. The first thing I want to say about Steelbooks, I've been collecting these for a couple of years now, and I gotta be honest, I've always loved Steelbooks. I actually used to hate Steelbooks. I can't say I've always loved them. I used to hate them because they were really hard to take the discs out. Now I hate them because they damage really easily. They can erode over time, and of course I gotta keep them in plastic protectors, which for slipcover releases I don't have to do unless it's like a really limited edition. I really, really like it, you know, like the Tunnel one, I'm okay, I'll just leave that on the shelf. But something like, you know, Avatar, I don't need that in the sleeve. I don't know. I don't have any slipcover releases and sleeves that I think of. Probably not, but I imagine if I did, if I had one that was like really rare, something I really, really treasured, I would definitely put it in a protector. But something like this is a perfect example of a great steelbook. This is Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the gold edition that had been released from Zavvi. Immediately reflective, but also you got great embossing on the characters, the framing of it. It looks fantastic. There are so many colors I can't move it around too much because it's actually annoying my camera. See? Whoa, it's too much work. Anyway, this is a huge benefit for Steelbooks. Firstly, it's hard. It's metal, you know. It's nice in terms of structure and quality. It also has backwards artwork, which sometimes can be absolutely outstanding. This being, of course, Roger Rabbit breaking through a brick wall. It's beautiful. You contrast this to the 4K release, and the 4K release is completely flat, mostly abstract, and not fantastic. I like to put it on this, like, out on my basic shelf of, if I want to watch this film, I'll grab the 4K Steelbook, because it comes with a 4K. This, on the other hand, artwork on the inside, and you get disc artwork. These are really hard to get the discs out of. Usually, actually. I guess not this time. But yeah, this is a beautiful Steelbook. I've actually probably never actually held this in my hands before. I don't know. Either way, it's just, this is good quality. This is the perfect style of Steelbook in terms of gloss and shine. If I touch it, it's not going to leave much marks because it's like not white or black. It doesn't look like it's going to chip or be destroyed easily, and it just looks pretty. It's nice. This is, for me, top tier, I think, in Steelbooks. Because, again, the artwork is fantastic, the design is really nice, inside, outside artwork is great all around, embossing, debossing, every single value that I'd like in a Steelbook, I get in the Roger Rabbit one. This is one I probably won't ever sell because I just love the design function, even though, of course, I do have the 4K Steelbook, because I like the artwork on the 4K Steelbook more than the standard release. Which is the main exception for me collecting Steelbooks now. I only collect Steelbooks now if I like the artwork over the standard 4K and or Blu-ray release. Especially because something like John Wick, which I got recently, the 4th film, the Australian release of the Steelbook came with both a Blu-ray and a 4K. The standard 4K only came with a 4K. For $5 extra, I get both discs and nice artwork. Here's a slipcover variant, which I actually think is really nice. This is the La La Land version, which came from Best Buy. I imported this one from, I think, Taiwan, actually. I love when some of these protectors open immediately. It's so nice. Anyway, this is a really nice Steelbook set. I love and adore this film. The fact that I got it was mostly for the 4K essence, but also because it's the perfect kind of... This is the kind of... I think it's... Is it Lionsgate? There is definitely a... Yeah, it's Lionsgate. I believe it's just the Lionsgate releases, maybe also for like American Psycho and whatnot, have done beautiful releases like this. This is exceptional work. It's a glossy Steelbook which looks amazing immediately, but the fact that this is like an extra bonus look, it's silhouette-y. I think the Mondo Steelbooks for like the Marvel films did the same thing. You know, it still tells you your details on the back from the 4K disc to the Blu-ray disc, both with special features. My god, what a beautiful set. Like, it's a beautiful sleeve. I keep the whole thing unprotected because I respect it. I love it. And of course, inside artwork, 2 different disc arts as well, which is really nice. And the artwork on here, which there will be that, which is my viewfinder. I apologize for that. But it looks great. There's no embossing or debossing. It's just a simple one big picture image. It's all gloss. But honestly, I love it. Because of its design and having a sleeve, it allows it to not get scratched. It's got these colors on it that, you know, I still don't really want to touch it because I don't want to get fingerprints on it, because a lot of the times these buggers are fingerprint magnets, and that's a huge disservice to Steelbooks a lot of the time for me. Either that or the scratchy elements. Like, I've gotten a lot of premiums before where the Steelbook itself has gotten scratched up really easily just by taking it out of the sleeve, which is ridiculous. That shouldn't be a thing, but that's also the problem for me with gloss Steelbooks. Luckily, these 2 so far have been really nice. I mean, I wouldn't say Roger Rabbit is a gloss Steelbook. It's technically matte finish. The back is gloss, but the front isn't. But then the image of the characters is glossy. It's a very strange design, but this being glossy all around still has nice texture. It still looks nice, it feels nice, it's great to take out, and the sleeve makes it a perfect combo. Yeah, I know, me contrasting, like, this is what I like from my slipcovers, ironically, is that it protects it and gives it nice artwork. And in this case, for these Steelbooks, these Lionsgate ones at least, because they have been extraordinary so far, they have emphasized protecting the Steelbook as well as, oh hey, let's add to the artwork by literally adding to the artwork. It's just a genius approach that I think a lot of Steelbook fans have really, really appreciated. I definitely have. My only criticism is the fact that not very easy to get in Australia. These are not natural things in Australia. I believe even my John Wick 4 Steelbook comes with a sleeve in the US. In Australia, it does not. So, yeah, that's just... We don't have sleeve Steelbooks here in Australia. I don't think I've ever seen a release like that. So, that's very bothersome, but it's still nice that they exist. I'm going to show two very basic Steelbooks, which is arguably the principle of why Steelbooks can be bad and can be good. I don't really want to grab any really glossy ones out that can scratch really easily, but I do have one limited edition one, so I will show that off. My main criticism with Steelbooks is, again, they're usually expensive, hard to import, easy to damage, at least with sleeves. If the slip cover on, like the artwork on the inside is the same, then I can get rid of the sleeve, you know, objectively I don't need it. But with Steelbooks, once this baby's damaged, you're screwed. And I'm lucky I've only had a very few amount of Steelbooks damaged in my time, with basically King of Comedy being the only release. And that came with the little J-card kind of O-card sleeve, where it's like just on the bottom here and the back. Either way, this is a nice matte finish Steelbook, one of my first and favourite Steelbooks. It's still simple in its design. It's just nice. Again, this one's a pretty hard one to take the disc out of, I think, because I haven't used it as much. But again, artwork on the inside, it's all a mural. It's just nice. It's not perfect, but I bought this over the standard Blu-ray because at the time I didn't have a 4K player. But I didn't like the 4K, the standard artwork. I think the 4K and Blu-ray artwork was identical, but I did not like it. And I looked at this and I'm like, I gotta get the Steelbook because I just loved the design. And I didn't even like collecting Steelbooks at the time. So this is one of my oldest Steelbooks, and I still really like that I have it. I keep it protected because I just like it. I like the way it looks. I like the way it feels. It's just nice. Now contrast this to one that I think is decent, but has had some age and can show the real test of time as to why Steelbooks can be a bit annoying. In this case, it's not traditional damage. This is Perfect Blue, which was a pretty tricky one to find at the time. I believe they've re-released it in the US, so it's pretty easy now. I got this from Zavvi. This one has corroded. I love this film. It's part of my Satoshi Kon collection. But if you look at it, you might not notice it immediately. And even on the inside, it still comes with these art cards. No inside artwork. That's, you know, sure a J card, but no inside artwork. That's a huge criticism. Like, I definitely am a stickler for, if you're gonna have inside art, if you're gonna have a Steelbook, you're gonna have artwork on the inside and outside. I can't show off one of these images because they do have naked girls on them. But it's nice-ish. The art cards is a nice benefit because this was still retail price. So you might be able to see there and there and there. This thing is starting to die. It's probably because I've had it for such a long time, but this is like rusting almost. It's not great. It's very metal, it's very cold. It still looks nice. I actually didn't take off the J-card for the longest time, so I didn't even realize that there was a picture on the back. You look at all the spots along here and along the back here. It's that and the lack of artwork on the inside. Not good. Not good. That's another one of the things I criticize of Steelbooks. There's never a perfect thing. Obviously, if you can have something like the Roger Rabbit one where it's both basically matte and gloss at the same time, it has embossing and debossing on the back and the front, it has artwork on the inside, and it has a disc. Even though this doesn't have artwork, I don't really care. The fact that it utilizes every single essence of its physical design is just extraordinary. But you contrast that to Perfect Blue and it's just, you know, like Perfect Blue's, it's an okay Steelbook. I don't love the design of it, but I've never seen a standard Blu-ray release of the film, which is so strange to me that it has a Steelbook release, but it has, or at least to my knowledge, no standard Blu-ray release. It probably does, but I've never seen one, and if it is, it's probably long out of print. So that's a tricky thing for me. The last but not least one is a very exclusive limited edition Steelbook. This is the only premium I'm really going to show off, and it's probably the most expensive Steelbook I've ever bought. This is Suspiria, the Synapse 4K release. It is a monolith of a standard steelbook mixed with a sleeve, exceptional artwork, and I feel like I should be wearing gloves, but I've given up on that by now. I got this off eBay a couple years ago. Beautiful artwork. Okay, I'm going to take the steelbook out because the steelbook's actually really weighty, so it can fall and break. Like, it slides right out. Okay, I'm going to carefully take that off. Okay. The sleeve is a great essence to it in this case because it has the beautiful, like, theatrical artwork. You still get spine artwork as well, and you get this artwork on the back, which it did have a J card at the time. I believe it did, at least. So this artwork was actually hidden. I'm pretty sure. There's definitely a release I've had of a Blu-ray where I've had to take off the artwork, a sticker or whatever. It's really nice art. It's creepy as hell. Like, look at that. That is just bizarre artwork, and it's just such a gorgeous release for it. And that's not even the best part. Then you get the exceedingly glossy black steelbook. This is divine. So this is where something like a steelbook shines. The gloss, the artwork, the uses of blacks and reds. It looks fantastic. This is one thing where I will give probably the biggest props in contrast to a slipcover. Slipcover does feel cheap and standard. Something like this, on the other hand, what the hell is this? Like, I know what it is because I've seen the movie, but my god, this is unbelievably beautiful. Like, I love that I spent so much money on this because it looks divine. And it's, to my knowledge, no imperfections. I don't really want to look. Okay, it has a hefty amount of stuff on the inside, though. For a basic necessity, I won't take out the discs, but it does come with 3 different discs, including the score on the soundtrack. It is a little stuck there. As you can see, there is an angle. That is because it does not open fully. That's a big annoying thing with steelbooks if you can't lay it all out flat. Luckily, it's not a widespread image that goes from front to back like my Akira one does. That's the Kimchi DVD one. This one is luckily single-sided for each side, which I like. So it did come with a sleeve, emphasizing its limited edition to like 4,000 units, I believe. 6,000. So one of 6,000 units, and I own one of them, which is really nice. It also does come with like 2 booklets, including the Synapse Films catalog, which I probably should throw out, but you know, and a booklet on Suspiria. This is like when I said premium, I mean this. This goes all out in everything. So this is just gorgeous, you know. It's small, it's perfect, it fits all in one steelbook. This is a hell of a 40th anniversary release. Contrast this to like the Tunnel, where it's like kind of basic, but again, that doesn't include a booklet or anything. So yeah, it's kind of funny actually comparing the two now. Like, I was really gonna hammer in like, yeah, I love slipcovers more than steelbooks. I have issues with both, but I have prayers for both. You know, as much as a steelbook can get damaged easily, so can a slipcover. A steelbook can look exceptional with gloss and embossing and debossing. Even matte finish ones can still look fantastic if the artwork is utilized right. And kind of the same can be said for a sleeve in a way. A sleeve can be very basic, it can be flat, it can look the exact same as the artwork on the inside of the case, which is bad. I mean, good that it exists, but bad in terms of there's no difference. There's nothing interesting here in terms of artwork. But then you can have the complete opposite, where the artwork is phenomenal on the sleeve, it's different on the inside. The inside is reversible as well, like if you go 3 layers deep, like they do with some Umbrella releases, where you have the O card, then you have the inside artwork, and then you have the reversible inside artwork as well, which is all different and all posable, not like a large image of a shot from the film, but rather something you can actually flip it around. Or something like the Beyond Genres releases, where they have, you know, again, the large image on the inside, but then on the outside you've got 2 different posters. The Love Witch in this case is 2 different films, but I have some releases where the image on the inside is 2 different posters from 2 different countries. Like maybe one's the theatrical poster and one's maybe Japanese, or it's something different that just looks really interesting or looks just very unique. Whether it could be good or bad, it's still something different. So there are some great essences to slipcovers like that. And again, they all come as protective features. The bonus here is the fact that some steelbooks also come with sleeves that can help to either add more artwork, like my Suspiria one does, giving you theatrical plus all the extra stuff, and you open it up and it is an eccentric package for a limited edition release. But then you contrast that to the La La Land one, which isn't exactly a limited edition, but I'm pretty sure it did have some limited release time, I guess. Like, here's only 30,000 units or whatever, see how it sells, and that's about it. But something like American Psycho and La La Land have artwork that emphasize the artwork on the steelbook, where the sleeve itself, you take it off and you get a different image to what you have on the top, where the top, say for La La Land, will emphasize the main two characters, but then you take off the sleeve and bam, there's this whole world that surrounds them in terms of music and color and everything. So there are real essences to something like that. Of course, there are still premium labels like Mantalab and even the Arrow Video releases, which will give you the bigger hardcover, sleeves with the booklets and the art cards and the posters and all that stuff. And that's always still fun to do, the essays, all the little booklets that you get with it. But I'm talking about strictly the packaging with this basic sleeve with the O-card or whatever the hell imprint does, and then the steelbooks. Obviously, there are still the bad issues in terms of my mind. Something that's as basic as, say, Crimes of the Future and Avatar, where it's the same artwork. Avatar is just dumb. Having the rated M sticker on the front. I hate that, the classification sticker. It's a very Australian thing, and it bloody sucks. But, of course, the American release doesn't have that. It has that on the back, and that's a props, but again, doesn't actually have any different artwork on the inside. At least the Haunting of Julia gives you both. Here's the Haunting of Julia artwork, here's the Full Circle artwork. On the back of both is still the details about the film, but it actually does have different images as well from the film, which is kind of cool. So that's a promising attribute as well. As an overall, I don't really know which one I prefer. I'm currently in the market of I'm enjoying buying slipcover versions more, or at least I'm enjoying if an edition comes with a slipcover, because given how in Australia the slipcover releases were basically getting allocated to Umbrella and even Chameleon Films now, basically boutique labels in Australia, Umbrella, Chameleon Films, and Imprint. And they're all doing something with it, And I like that. You get different artwork on the inside, you get a sleeve. It's just nice, whether it's glossy, whether it's matte, whatever the finish. It's a good bonus. You get extra artwork, and I'm a stickler for artwork. It's my main function about loving Imprint is the different forms of artwork you get. So in contrast to that, like, our standard Australian releases like Avatar, like my King Kong release, are all the same with here's your rated sticker. The artwork is the same as the inside artwork. There's a bit of shine to them sometimes, like the Avatar Way of Water one does come with embossing, but the artwork is so different to the first film, it's like, what the fuck's the point? They both came out in the same goddamn day, and the artwork is completely different. Nothing about it matches. The A on the spine is completely misaligned. There's so much stuff that just doesn't work. So, and I know that's probably a bigger brand thing, like Disney and whatnot. So, yeah, I don't care much to look in the Australian market for slipcover releases. If I find a film and I'm like, hey, it's one I want, maybe it's on sale, maybe it's brand new, and it comes with a sleeve, sure, why not? For us in Australia, it all comes wrapped in shrink wrap. There's no, here's the case in shrink wrap, here's the sleeve as a bonus. They never do that. It's always one whole package, which I like. It's a part of the product. So yeah, it can be a bit annoying as an Australian buyer, the fact that if you're really big into sleeves, you're not going to get them on standard releases. That's why it's not such a big deal. It's not why I don't care as much for them. But I do like the practice of making the package better by adding different styles of artwork because you have a sleeve. Umbrella being a huge provider of that. Imprint, it's a natural part of their brand. Umbrella, they do it on the occasion with some better releases. They're beyond genre labeled releases or limited edition ones like they've done with The Tunnel. So that's always great. The American brands still do it, British brands still do it, but I don't really get many British labeled ones. Even the ones I do, I got like Leon the Professional, the 4K UHD, and it still came with artwork on the sleeve, but again, it was the exact same artwork. It's as basic as the King Kong artwork we had in Australia, plus it still has the region labels on the front. It just wasn't much to talk about. It's the exact same stuff I've seen before. So, I mean, I've still kept the artwork. Like, again, I conveniently got it right here. But, like, look at that. That's just, it's the same stuff, you know? There's not much to it. I don't care that much for it. There are still occasional extra releases for Australian releases, I think. No, Goonies is not Australian. I know Monster Pictures, I think it is, or I don't know. They have releases like for Raw and for the Greasy Strangler. They've done slipcover releases, which is nice. They're mostly like limited edition versions, but they play up with the artwork a bit. I love the one for Raw, even though the artwork on both is basically the same, but there's just different color palettes used. So, yeah, it's fun to have that kind of stuff, but again, it's very limited in the style of when it's actually used well, and it's usually for limited edition or boutique releases. America, on the other hand, it's a commodity. You get it naturally, and that's why, for me, it's very basic to get a release from them, and it's like, oh, it came with a sleeve, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I don't care. Like, say Kino, it's still a boutique brand to some degree, but the artwork is the exact same if you get a sleeve. There's no difference. But then you can still get a standard release off the shelves, and lo and behold, it's the exact same artwork. There's no emphasis on embossing or debossing, and I don't really care for that on sleeves anyway. I don't think that's really worth it. For me, it's contrasting artwork. I don't need a sleeve to have embossing or debossing. I don't see any point in that. I've gotten sleeves that have embossing, and I'm like, it's cool, I guess. You know, again, like the Avatar Way of Water one, like it adds some flavor to it, but I could live without that. Contrast this to Steelbooks, and the basic Steelbook, again, for me, the ones I love are matte finish ones because they don't scratch as easy. But again, if the end result is something like what happened with Perfect Blue, where it will eventually kind of rust over time, that sucks. I put in a protector just so it would maybe not infect the rest of the shelf, you know, and it so far hasn't, which is great. But then again, I love the release for something like, you know, Alien Covenant, where artwork's all around, it's got a style to it, I like it. Perfect Blue having no artwork on the inside, shitty. My Alita Battle Angel one, despite still having artwork on the inside and artwork on the front, very basic artwork, but it's nice, it's got a nice essence to it. There's nothing on the back, it's completely plain. If you're going to have all these sides, utilize them, you know? Like, even the most basic stuff, like an Umbrella release of, like, the Love Witch, will still have inside artwork. It doesn't need to. It could have just had plain white, and then on the outside be, here's one poster, here's a different poster, and then you get a sleeve. That would have been fine, but instead they went the extra step and put in a wallpaper image. It's like the occasional 4K film that I'll get from, like, Umbrella, or, you know, Arrow Video, or Eureka, or whatever, will have, like, not reversible artwork, but sometimes reversible artwork, but like the wallpaper artwork on the inside, and it's like you can't see it because it's a black case because it's a 4K. But it's nice to have it, I guess. Like my Jackie Chan Eureka set has that for every single release. It seems kind of dumb, but it's nice to have it, I guess, you know. I don't need it. It's basically worthless because I can't see it, but it's just one of their practices. They just add it to it anyway. So, yeah. I think Steelbooks still have a lot of props. Again, they are strong, easy to protect the media, which was the whole idea, media wrapped in metal. But they do scratch easy for glossy ones. They can chip and damage and get crushed and be bent and can just fall apart if they're not properly glued together. And sometimes they won't open completely because half of it will just stay stuck to the, you know, side of it, whereas the other half will flop open. There's a lot more damage control when it comes to Steelbooks, but the artwork can be exceptional if utilized right. Again, the matte finishes are one thing, which they can still have great artwork and can look fantastic, but then you get something like a glossy Steelbook, and it has embossing and debossing, the Roger Rabbit one being a perfect example, but something like the limited edition Dario Geno Suspiria can look phenomenal, and that's still bonused with the sleeve. So, yeah, for me it's all about, is the artwork utilized appropriately, and is the sleeve appropriate, I guess. I don't know. It's mostly the artwork for me. If the artwork is different on the sleeve to the inside artwork, benissimo. I love it. If it's the same, I don't really care for it. I'm not going to throw it out. Like, that doesn't interest me to discard it. It's like digital copies. I will show it to someone, they can have the code, and I'll throw it out because I don't care for it. But I'm not going to do that to a sleeve because it's like the sleeve is still integral to the media itself. And usually it's a part of a US release, and I kind of like the extra padding. So, yeah, I don't know. I just want to take a look at these two formats because they're kind of very on par with each other. At least in Australia, I want to emphasize this. You still get steelbooks on the shelf. You don't get sleeves on them. It's just a steelbook. And they're still nice to get. They're occasional. They're still collectible, limited edition, usually the same thing that's been printed in either the UK or the US. But it's not for every single release. It's the occasional thing. I will usually import a steelbook because I will like the design of it and want to have that. I have a friend who got really, really big into steelbooks, and he hates that half the releases in Australia absolutely suck, and they do. But then sometimes the designs can look like crap. Like the Super Mario Bros. Movie, my friend was really excited to get the steelbook, and then it was just black with a mushroom on the front, and he's like, what the hell is this? It looks like crap. It's like, it's very simplistic. It's fine, I guess, but, you know, say like The Last of Us had a good looking steelbook. I didn't buy it, limited edition, but also $65. I'm not buying that. I know it's a 4K TV show, but I could just go with the regular slipcover. I'm good. You know, House of the Dragon, same ordeal, where it's like the artwork is basically identical, except it's glossy on the steelbook, but on the slipcover version, which is like the imprint one, where it slides out through the side, it's got embossing and everything, and it looks really nice. So I preferred that version, and it was cheaper, so I went for that one. Yeah, so Australia market-wise, steelbooks don't sell as well, but they are still there on the occasion. I've gotten a good handful, and I've liked most of the ones that I've gotten. And it saved me from having to import. And something with John Wick Chapter 4, it's given me the bonus disc of having a 4K UHD and a Blu-ray, which the standard 4K did not. Also, I prefer the artwork on the steelbook. So, yeah, it just is what it is. It's very up in the air as to which one I prefer. Usually with a sleeve, there is no choice. You either get one or you don't. If you're in Australia and you go for umbrella or imprint, it basically depends on if you get the limited edition release or not. If you don't get the limited edition release, you just get a standard plastic case with whatever artwork is provided on it. So, yeah, it makes the sleeve a bit more valuable in that regard, and I like that to it. Whereas in America, there's like a market for, this one comes with a sleeve, come buy this one, or I'll trade you the sleeve for a different sleeve, like it's bloody Yu-Gi-Oh cards or something, you know? More Pokemon cards I feel like I should have used, because that's more of a tradable thing. At least to my knowledge. Yu-Gi-Oh, I don't know if it's as big. Anyway, thank you for watching. I know I didn't cover all kinds of different slipcovers, especially ones that are like come in big sets, but I didn't want to cover the hardback sleeves. I wanted to cover the ones that you get as basic stuff on your shelves, or at least in Australian shelves. So, yeah. But anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know your opinions down below. Do you prefer sleeves? Do you prefer slipcovers? Do you prefer steelbooks? Which one's your bread and butter? And did you agree with me? Do you think it's worth it to have different variations of artwork over the same artwork repeated, but just a bit more padding? What do you think? Let me know. And steelbooks, let me know your favorite. Do you prefer glossy, fucking matte finish? I don't know. I don't like the glossy half the time because they scratch really easily and they can dent and chip, and it's annoying. And you got to put in protectors and all that crap. So that's why I usually prefer matte finishes. But if they're done really well, they can look really, really good. So it's, yeah. Anyway, in the end, it's just paper and cardboard and plastic and metal. Thanks for watching. See you next time.